So in the last 6 months, you've made over $125,000 in payouts, with your biggest month being $70,000 in January. You've only been day trading for 2 years and overall trading for 14 years.
Correct.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's been a great ride so far.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, loving it.
Thank you for coming to Colorado to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I think we have a lot of value in store for everyone here.
I'm excited.
So let's get started with your story, man. You clearly have had some incredible results. You've crushed at trading, done something that a lot of people would dream of doing or just never will do. Where did your story start? How did you grow up? And I guess how did you get to this point where you are in life?
Yeah. Honestly, it sounds like a depressing story, but to me, it was my life. I didn't think of anything different, and people hear the story and they're like, man, your life's, I'm like, no, my life was great. Even in the moment, my life was great. So, unfortunately, my mom passed away at a young age. Dad became a massive alcoholic, and I got taken into foster care. Went through a bunch of different homes, dealt with that a lot. It was rough. Some homes were great. Some homes absolutely terrible. I call it my plastic bag experience. So anytime I get a little too high on my horse, my wife makes me carry a plastic bag around with all my belongings in it, because that's what you use to go from home to home. And it kind of humbles you. That hubris kind of goes away, which is nice. So yeah, I call it the plastic bag experience. Yeah, I was in foster care all the way through high school. And then I went into just wanting to learn. I've always been a big learner. And I think that's where a lot of my success comes from, is learning and trying to get out of things. And I promised myself I'd never be homeless. I'd never be in foster care. I was never going to be that broke kid ever again. And I wanted to help other people also come from either nothing or come from something and do something with their life and be able to also then do the trickle down ripple effect.
And you weren't just in one foster home. You said you were in multiple.
Oh yeah. Homes. It's so how the foster care system, at least in my experience, they've tried to change it over the years, but it's usually every month to every 6 months you rotate a family.
Wow.
Yeah. Whether that family, it sounds terrible, got tired of you, or they want to get out of the foster care system. It's not, a lot of families do it, and this sounds terrible. There's some great families that do it for great reasons. There's other families that do it for a paycheck. So you kind of go through that bouncing back and forth.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to have some sort of impact on you growing up. And I mean, I know I was never in foster care, but I can relate in a sense of wanting more for yourself, growing up single mom and not ever really having much. I can't imagine the drive and hunger in you growing up and getting, put in different homes and never really having a sense of security. I can guess that you wanted to make something of yourself and never allow yourself to live through that or your loved ones to live through it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, some of the biggest fights I've had with my wife is she came from California and she would throw away like bruised fruit. And I was like, hey, I was eating on trash cans. Like, hey, don't throw that shit away. Sorry. Don't throw that stuff away.
You can curse here.
Okay, perfect. I was like, crap. Don't throw that shit away. Like, that's a perfectly good fruit. And that was our first big fight.
Wow.
It was over a bruised, I think it was an apple or orange.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just different upbringings, but I loved it. It made me who I am, and it made me be able to change other people's lives. And that's the biggest takeaway that I had from it was something that made sure other people could have a great life.
That's crazy. So you're in foster care throughout high school.
Yep.
Graduate, assuming 18 or probably 18 years old.
Yep.
And you started trading or getting into the stock market when you were 20.
Yep.
14 years now.
Yeah.
So what does that transition look like? You graduate high school, you start dabbling in trading, and it wasn't until recently you start day trading.
Correct.
But take me through your 14 years of trading and what led you to wait 10 years, or 12 years, I should say, to start your day trading journey.
Yeah. I think it was, I didn't trust myself enough. And I've always heard day trading is where you go to just lose all your money and you're never going to be successful. And you always hear the over and over and over, like you're never going to be anything if you're a day trader. Oh, and even now, like somebody will ask like, oh, how do you make your money? Or how do you afford stuff like that? And it's day trading. And like you get that kind of side eye, right? So I always did swing trading. I got into swing trading and long-term trading. I was following a couple gurus of the time. It was never successful. At least personally, I saw people that were successful, whether that was faked or not. But I wasn't. And so I started kind of dabbling on my own and just backtesting theories. My mind is very scientific like that. So I'd love to test a theory out and see if it becomes a law.
And that's what your background is in.
Correct.
Science. Did you go to college for science?
I did. That degree is actually in the trash can or in a landfill somewhere now. I got the.
You actually threw it
away?
Oh, yeah.
I actually threw it away. Yeah. So I got it. And the dogma of you need to go to college, you need to become successful, you need to become a doctor for everybody to respect you. And that was the dogma of what I saw as a foster kid, right? If I want to show everybody that I did something with my life, I have to be a doctor. I have to be a lawyer. And at some point, something just clicked. And I was like, I don't have to do that. I can learn something and be so good at something and change my life that way and change other people's lives, and people will respect that. And that's an intrinsic motivator for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I literally got it and I threw it away probably the same day, if not that week. And it was like,
wow. Yeah. Immediately.
Yeah, it clicked, but I wanted to finish my degree. I didn't want to quit.
Got it.
So I kind of drug out school for a little bit, got the degree, and as soon as it came in the mail, I was like, that's cool. I don't need it anymore. And I tossed it.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So you were pre-med.
Yep.
About ready to go to med school.
Yep. Taking the MCATs and all that fun stuff, all the stressors.
Wow.
One of the big kind of clicks that clicked for me was, unfortunately, one of my dogs had a tragic death the day I was studying for MCAT, and my MCAT was the next day. And he was fine. 3 hours later, he's gone. Wow. And it clicked that I was wasting my life studying for something that I didn't need to study for, because people respected me and loved me for who I am now. I don't need a title. And that was it.
Insane.
Yeah.
So where does trading come into this? You're 20 years old.
Yep.
You get started dabbling in the stock market.
Yeah.
10 years pass, turn 30. Still, I assume, trading to some extent. And then 2 years ago, you start day trading. You start learning about day trading.
Yeah.
That's probably when we met.
Yeah.
Maybe before or after. I guess you can tell that part.
Yeah. And this is in the most respectful way possible, but I saw your Instagram, right? And I saw what you were doing with trading. And in my head, if somebody can do something, I can do that.
I love that.
And there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to do that. But it wasn't just because you were doing it. It was because of what you were doing with the funds afterwards that I absolutely loved. And that's what actually kept me with Team Bowl. It was the same ideals and the same thought process. And what I want to do with my trading is I always want to constantly give back. So like my biggest month in January, I paid for my godmother's rent and car and everything.
That's
like that.
awesome.
So like, that's all I'm doing this for. So the reason I wanted to be a doctor was to help cure cancer, right? You always have that big dream. But the trading came into effect because I realized that there was another avenue that I could take that could also help me change people's lives.
That's awesome.
And so that's my big intrinsic motivator, and that my big motivator in general is get so good at something that I can teach other people, but I can also not necessarily always pay for other things, but I can help. Like my father-in-law, I'm helping him. He's not part of Team Bowl, but he's getting into trading and now he's profitable. Really good friend also named Rob. I've got him a $10,000 payout in less than 2 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah, on FFF. So like, it's just these really cool. And to me, that's bigger than any payout I'll ever get.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So 10 years in, I saw you and I was like, damn, like if he's doing this, day trading has to be profitable. Like there's got to be a way to make it profitable. There's so many people that are these gurus, but there's got to be something that I'm not doing. And then I saw your page and I was like, I really like all your free education that you have on YouTube. That is straight up amazing education. Grizzlies education, Ghost education, all of those. And if you actually pay attention and watch and learn from them, you can learn almost everything from that. And by doing that is what kind of pushed me to, I can day trade. I've been already in the stock market. I've been doing swing trades, 6-month trades, year trades. I have a lot invested. Like, why not day trade? And so I started day trading, and it was a little rough patch with options. I hate theta. And the time thief is what I always call it, is the time thief, right? But it's one of those, like, it was fun and I enjoyed it and I still enjoy it. So.
And when you first started day trading, what would you say your objectives were and what were some struggles you faced? Obviously I don't like to shill. I don't like this to be an info ad for Mastermind, for example, but you came into Mastermind 5.
Yep.
I'm sure you did some studying on your own. Typically people do, and we recommend you do. What would you say were some of the most valuable things you learned? What were some of the hardships you had? And what did it take for you to go from not really knowing a lot about day trading to getting 6 figures in payouts in a very short amount of time, might I add?
Thank you. I wanted to make as much money as possible. That was my biggest mistake in my initial switching to day trading, because unfortunately everybody sees it, and you get humbled by it quickly, which I love. But I wanted to make a bunch of money, and obviously that didn't happen right up front. I lost a lot of money. You still have losing days, and you still have issues. But my main goal was to learn from everybody that was on live. And the lives to me were some of the most influential parts of day trading for me, because it changed my strategy from what I was doing prior, which was profitable. I was making great money doing it, but it wasn't a day trading strategy. And so I was losing a lot of money trying to do my ultra strategies. But listening to people on live and watching when you do the screen shares and stuff like that, it's so invaluable. And then I was becoming profitable. I was having good green days. I was having less red days. Great. But there was an edge that I was missing. Hence why I went into Mastermind 5. And I went into Mastermind 5, and it was so cool to be able to sit there and like listen and be a student. And again, I love learning, being a student. Granted, I learn very different. There's a system called VARC, and it's visual, auditory, read, write, or kinesthetics. It's a whole learning system. I'm a very kinesthetic learner. So I had to take your guys' classes, but I also have severe ADHD. So what I loved about the Mastermind is the recorded classes, because I could listen to you guys live. Then I could go back and break it down for 10, 15 minutes, go walk around for 5 minutes, come back 10, 15 minutes, go walk around for 5 minutes, because my brain, I'm in the restaurant industry. We don't sit. we don't sit well.
There's no downtime.
No, there's no downtime ever. And I can't learn like that. College classes were the most difficult for me, because sitting for 50 minutes, you only can have somebody's attention for about 40 before they start losing it, right? And so the kinesthetics kind of kicked in, the being able to do it. But then I used my wife to teach her the same system, and more or less she could, honestly, she's quite profitable too. But
Wife's profitable too.
Yeah, she's been slowly, she quit her job, and she's been sitting at home, and she has her own laptop, and every once in a while she'll take a little trade. She's not making crazy money, but she's making hobby money. She's paying for all our hobbies. So I love it. Yeah. So it's a good time.
And the reason I brought that up is because I'm sure, even though you mentioned you learned a lot in Mastermind, it still takes a lot of self-reflection and a lot of trial and error and a lot of molding your edge to your trading style, because no two traders, in my opinion, are the exact same.
No,
we can trade the same strategy, but I guarantee you, over a week's period, I take my trades, you take your trades. We're going to have different entries, exits, P&Ls. Everything's going to be different.
Correct.
So in terms of breaking down your strategy that you've taken from the classes on your own accord, how would you break that down in words? What strategy do you trade? What do you look for entries, for exits, risk management? Can you break down your strategy for us?
Yeah. So I love fair value gaps. It's one of the biggest drivers for when I put levels. I trade on the 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay.
Yeah. So I that was one thing that changed when I came into day trading. There was a lot of talk about 5 minute, 15, and sometimes 2. A couple of people were talking about 2.
I was probably one of them.
Yeah.
But I don't really trade it anymore, but I used to trade the 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say the 2 was a big talker, and like everybody was saying 1 minute, 1 minute, and so I was so afraid of the 1 minute. I was skeptical of the 1 minute. It scared the crap out of me. So I was always trading 5 minute, and it wasn't for how I traded. The 5 minute wasn't getting me good entries. So what I do, morning routine, I wake up, take the dog out, grab some coffee, sit outside for a minute, and then I go sit and do the 4-hour time frame. Find big levels there, but I don't set any levels there. I zoom in on that where I find a big move, and I keep zooming in. 4 hour, then 1 hour, then I go to 15, 5, and then I go 1. Once I go into the 1, that's where I actually start setting my levels. Because
you don't set any levels on any of the higher time frames.
No, and it's very different.
It is different.
Yeah, but it's been obviously profitable for how I trade, and it's not for everybody. Just like you said, everybody's different. I do set some lines. I'll set I use blue, but I use these blue lines to kind of set like big breaks or big breakdowns, and I'll set those throughout. But that's about it. And then when I'm on the 1 minute, I look for a big massive move, and that candle right behind, I'll take the full candle wick. So I'll go from wick to wick, and then what I'm looking for is usually an entry into that and then a bounce up, or completely break down, and then I'll enter puts if it's going past it.
On a retest
Yep.
or such?
Yeah.
You know what? I think the craziest thing you told me earlier is that you've made, $125,000 in payouts. And how much size do you use?
Three cons max.
Of
Of
micros.
yeah.
Of micros,
yeah.
not minis, of micros, which
Yeah.
is insane. That's half of a mini.
Yeah. And
That is insane.
yeah,
man.
I started in January, I was using minis. And I was very profitable, but your strategy has to change on the market. In January, we were having very consistent moves. So you can get in with one mini and be fine. And you're not worried about these massive wicks, right? And don't get me wrong, it happens. But then we went through this tariff news, and
Trump takes office, and it takes one tariff news or tweet or retraction of news to send it 100 points in
it's insane.
seconds.
Insane. And so 100 points in seconds on micros is totally fine. You're making plenty of money. And so I started, and I've slowly started transitioning back to a mini here and there when I feel confident with how I'm seeing, like the arousal scale. Once I feel like I'm seeing the trades well that day, every once in a while I'll switch to a mini, but rarely for now, until the market kind of subsides with these massive crazy moves and a tweet sends a dump 3% on the NASDAQ, right?
Yep.
I'm not switching back to those consistently. But yeah, the micros are kind of where I went, but I also am using a strategy where I'll enter 1 or 2 micros and then add in if it goes a little lower. As it goes up, I'll take some profit. If it comes back to retest my entry, I'll add more and up. So
You'll add again at your entry.
yeah. So
In all of the interviews I've done, I've never heard of anyone doing that.
yeah.
Where you add once, average in. I do that all the time too. Love leaving room for a second ad for a better entry. Then going up, you'll trim, and if it goes back to your entry again, you'll add again.
So yes, but I have a quick exit. So what I like to do is if it comes back, and if I'll have my, like, say it's at 100 and I set my stop for break even at exactly 100. As it comes down, if it's at 102, 103, I'll go in for two more cons, and then my break even still 100. So if it drops down and hits, I'm out, and I last on $2. So it's one of those, I will average in really close to that break even. And then if I break even on those second ad, then I break even.
So in a sense, you're almost averaging up, but not by very much.
Not by very much.
Averaging up just above your break even.
Just
so if
enough.
it goes back to break even,
Then
you're still.
it's not really that big of a loss.
But on the flip side, if the move makes a higher low there, for example, and continues, you got more size on.
Correct.
And
I've also already taken off already. So I'm already a green trade, and I can take a 5-point move down and still have a nice green trade.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a different perspective. I love hearing different perspectives.
It's been working. I used to not do it, and then I started messing around with the micros, and I was like, oh, this isn't as stressful as minis. So let's try that. And I'm, like I said, I'm science mind. So like nothing's going to work 100% of the time, but you might as well try and learn. And if you fail, you at least, as long as you're learning, you never failed.
Oh yeah. And it's crazy because I knew you were a good trader when I saw your stats at FFF. I obviously don't own FFF anymore. I don't own a prop firm anymore. But when I did, I was seeing the traders who were making a lot of money. And for my own trading sake, I like to look at the stats.
Yeah.
So I seen your trading and I was like, damn, Robert can trade.
Thanks.
This is awesome.
I appreciate that.
And which leads me to my next point. Obviously, you capped out at FFF at 50K in payouts. I think you made 70
Yeah.
total.
Yeah, it hurts.
That was
leaving
January?
20,000 just sitting there.
20,000 is hanging.
Yep.
Have you traded with any other prop firms? Or obviously you have, but which firms do you like, and how do you decide what firm you want to trade with?
Yeah, I hate trailing drawdown.
So you don't like Apex?
I hate trailing. Yeah, no trailing drawdown. And it's strictly because my arousal curve, right? I go straight to the opposite side of the curve because I'm so stressed that it's going to rip up and then rip back down, and I'm going to blow the account even though I was profitable. And in my mindset, I can't deal with trailing drawdown. I can't. I've tried.
The unrealized, it's tough.
Yeah. Unrealized gains, it's not, so as long as it's not a unrealized gain drawdown, I can kind of deal with it. So like Tradeify, I picked up a couple Tradeify accounts.
The intraday?
Yeah. So the intraday, I did I have 4 growth accounts that I traded with today. And that works a little bit for my strategy, but I can't deal with like the intraday drawdowns because it stresses me out too much. I can't be calm and collective when I'm trading. So take profit, I love. Yes, they have a trailing drawdown, but once you get past the buffer, that's the one, not the one, but one of the things I really, because I with the success from FFF and things like that, a lot of people hit me up in the Discord, not just Team Bull, but just in my own messages. And so that's one of the biggest things I see traders fail at, is they don't leave enough of a buffer. They're wanting to get that payout right away. I didn't even start taking money out of FFF until I had like $6,000 or $7,000 in the account.
In each account.
Yeah. And then when I took a payout, it was $2,000 to cover what I had already spent on funded.
And then you still had a $5,000 buffer.
Exactly.
That's a key point a lot of people miss.
Yeah.
Is that if you have $7K in profit and say you take $6K out, obviously there's percentages.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point.
Yeah.
If you only have $1,000 left to buffer, that's going to be really tough.
Correct.
So you got to think about your trading in terms of longevity, because everyone wants the big payout.
Yeah.
But if you want that account to last for 2, 3, 4, 5 more payouts, you might lose your next 2, 3 trades.
Yeah.
You always got to be thinking that I could lose my next trade or 2 trades or 3 trades. And that's where people get it wrong.
Yeah. And so like the funded accounts that are sitting in FFF right now with the 10,000 literally sitting there, those are my original accounts. When I started with it and started building it up, I never blew those accounts because I always kept the buffer. And so at one point, I think I had like 19,000 in one of them, and I only took 9,000 out because I still wanted a $10,000 buffer. Because to me, that's real money that I can use on a stressful day when I take a bad trade, take another bad trade. Even if you go on tilt, hopefully you're not blowing $10,000, and that's a bad tilt day, right?
Very bad.
So that's where I see a lot of traders in the funded programs and in prop firm programs fail themselves, is they are too worried about a payout and not worried enough about keeping a buffer.
And especially with a firm such as Apex.
Correct.
With trailing drawdown, you have to keep that buffer.
Yep.
Have to when you build it up. And I think that it boils down, I like Apex because of the scalability, but it comes with a cost, trailing drawdown. And so that's how I look at it, is you have to weigh the pros and cons, what works best for your trading. You hate trailing drawdown, so Apex just couldn't be for you.
Yeah.
Maybe someone doesn't mind trailing drawdown and they want more scalability, then Apex with 20 accounts. But as far as picking a firm, it all boils down to, in my opinion, how you trade.
Correct.
What fits your reward system, what fits your trading system, and what's going to be best for you in the next 2, 3, 4 months in the longer vision period of time to get payouts.
100%. The other thing that you brought up, and I didn't say this, but I do tell a lot of people when they ask me, is the whole Apex and having 20 accounts is great because you can make a $100 trade and now you made 2,000, right?
Yeah.
But personally, anybody that asks me, I always tell them, until you are actually profitable and pulling money out and have a buffer, one account, because you're wasting money at that point because you're hoping that you get some massive move. That's just my own ideal, right? Is if you're not already being paid to trade and already profitable, you shouldn't be wasting money on just accounts to blow.
I completely agree. Anyone that hasn't been trading for more than, I guess this isn't real, I was going to say for a year or two, but in general, it's the same thing as having a live account. If you can't manage 5,000, you haven't earned the right to trade 50,000.
Correct.
So if you can't manage one account on Apex or whatever firm you're trading, you sure as hell can't manage 20.
Yep.
You can try, but it's going to hurt 100 times worse when you blow 20 accounts versus one. Or say you get lucky or you do really well in the eval. You just bought yourself $2,500 worth of PA fees, activation fees.
And then you blow them all the next day.
You blow them all the next day.
Yep. And that's what I'm saying is
that's no joke.
Yeah,
that's no joke.
That's a lot of money. And that's the thing is, like, these people are like, oh, I blew all my accounts, and they get mad, and then they go revenge trade, or then they go buy 20 more accounts. Just stick with one. Until you're profitable with one, there's no reason to have 20. There's no reason to have 2 until you're profitable with one.
It also messes with people's psychology too.
Yeah.
It's, in reality, you're copy trading and it's all in sim. So it doesn't actually have anything to do with your fills or your executions. But when you're trading 20 accounts at once, whether you like it or not, that's going to weigh on a rookie trader.
Yeah.
Shit, I got 20 accounts on the line. You're watching that 20 account P&L of 20 minis or 20 micros, whatever you're doing, move, and it moves much quicker than one.
Yep.
So it's being able to stomach that number, even though it's 1 per account, it's still a lot bigger in your face.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, the max I've ever had at one time is 4, and that's with Tradeify right now. Because that's plenty for me to see, I just to your point, the P&L, I strictly can't look at that little P&L on Tradeovate. I have to look at the tiny little P&L if I'm going to see what I'm profitable, because I freak out if I see I'm down $1,000, but in reality, I'm only down 10 points.
Yep.
But in my head, holy crap, I'm down $1,000.
It says 1,000, but 4 accounts, 250.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm down 10, 15 points, but I'm still in a very great setup. But my mentality and my stress goes through the roof. And now I'm exiting a trade, even though I shouldn't, because it didn't hit my stop loss. But for some reason, I've got out of that trade. And then guess what happens? It moves in your favor. And now you're pissed for the rest of the day or the next day, or you go on revenge and tilt and blow the whole account.
Has that ever been a problem for you? Have you ever had an issue with revenge trading or tilt trading, or gone through a period of drawdown?
Yes, not to the point where, at least for what I see and what I'm asked, or when people come to me and ask me, man, I blew $40,000 yesterday because I had 10,000 in 4 accounts, right? I've never, granted, there was that one time I told you I messed up and it shot through my stop loss. And then I did lose on Tradeify February. I lost like 10K in Tradeify, but it's because I was driving. I left a stop loss. It didn't hit my stop loss. It blew through it. And then I blew the account. I would say my worst on tilt day is probably like $3 or $4 grand.
Not bad.
But because I had a buffer, it was actually on one of my funded, my FFF accounts. But because I had a buffer, I had like 7,000, 8,000 in the account. I had a bad day, and then I just kept going in. I was mad. Probably shouldn't have been trading that day, but wasn't self-aware, self-conscious enough of my mentality.
You're human. It happens.
Yeah, it happens. And it was like 40, I want to say probably 43, if I remember correct, 4,300. I just blew.
And that's the thing too, to go back to our buffer point, is that you mentioned, I had a bad day. I wasn't on my A game. But the reality is that whether you've been trading for 2 years, 3 years, or 10 years, I've seen decade-long veterans of the industry go on tilt and blow over $1 million in a day. I've lost over 60K in a day.
Yeah.
It's not millions, but the point is, it doesn't matter if you've been trading a year, 2 years, 5 years, no one is immune to tilt.
No.
No one's immune to human emotion overtaking. And if you know anything about psychology, you're a science guy, when our brain gets overstimulated and we get angry or frustrated, it impairs our ability massively to make rational decisions.
Correct.
And when you're trading with massive amounts of dopamine and emotions and risk on the table, you get into that tilt mindset. It quite literally impacts your decision-making ability to where you might take trade after trade after trade. 30 minutes later, when you calm down, you breathe, you meditate, whatever you need to do, you look back and you say, fuck, what was I doing?
Yeah. You have no idea.
Because during that period, you're
no
not
idea what's
making
happening.
rational decisions.
Yeah, I have not to call him out, but I have a very good friend / bartender at my restaurant, and he calls it the something brain. It's like an alien brain or whatever. And he'll go on. His biggest problem right now is going on tilt. We can get him to be profitable. We can get him up to like 15,000, and then he goes on tilt and blows it all,
or a lot of it,
or a lot of it. Yeah, he's getting regular payouts now, which is amazing. I love that for him, but we still have to work on that trading psychology, and that's where I think the stop loss, a hard stop loss, came into effect for me. Is putting hard stop losses where I'm not clicking a button to exit. It's hitting my stop loss, because that takes the emotion out of it, and it takes the ability to say, oh well, it'll go up $1 or $2 and then rip down. Now, if it does, you got to deal with that, right? But at least that's what really pushed my day trading through the roof, is hard stop losses.
Hard stop losses always. So you're going on Tradeovate or TradingView, whatever you trade on, and you're inserting a stop loss on every trade.
Yeah, so I trade on Tradeovate. Once I start, and we were talking about this a little bit, once I start becoming profitable in that trade, I'll move it to break even. Around 250 to 300 is my break even. That's a small break even, but I also will re-enter the trade if it hits my break even and then continues. So I'll re-enter if it comes back through, if I still see the setup. But I have to be very confident in that setup. Because I'm trading on that 1 minute, sometimes your entry is just not perfect enough, and then that entry becomes nice with price action, volume, things like that. So I will always re-enter a trade if it meets my system. But then once I'm profitable after 300, once it hits 500, then I start moving my stop loss down, and I keep a trailing of 10 points. Now, sometimes it just rips up, hits the points and rips down, but I still at least made $500.
Yeah, you locked in your gains.
Correct.
Now, as far as points go, how do you look at your risk? Do you look at your risk from a perspective of, I'm going to risk 15 points to make 30? Is 15 points too tight for you? Is it too much? How much risk do you like to have per trade?
Mine's about 20 points.
20?
Yeah, 20 points, and I'm looking to do a 2R. So 40 points, 40 to 60 points is what I'm really looking for. And granted, within that is exits and entries throughout that trade if the price action's right. Sometimes I enter one and just let it sit and let it ride, and then I'll catch another trade here and there. But yeah, 20 points is usually where I say, okay, that's way too much. And it's more mentality, not necessarily because I think it's going to rip up afterwards. It's seeing $500 down, seeing $200 down, whatever it is. It's my mentality of, man, I was way too off, and I took 20 points of a loss. Now, if I take another trade and I take that's 40 points down. Now I have to take 3 trades to make that up, right? So the math starts going into effect, and then my brain starts getting affected by making correct decisions at that point.
And then people don't see it like this, but you trade, say, three micros.
Yeah.
If you get 40 points out of 3 micros, that's what, $240?
Yeah.
6 times 240?
Yep.
Well, if you're hitting 2 or 3 2R trades a day, and that's minimum.
Yeah.
If you trail your stop,
correct,
and it keeps climbing, you might get 3 or 4 R out of that.
Yep.
Those base hits are what get you paid out.
100%.
I say this all the time.
I know. And I laugh every time.
All the time.
I'm sitting on live and I laugh every time you say it because I'm like, it's the truth.
It's the truth. It sounds silly. People say, JDUN, I thought you'd have $5,000 days to make money. And here we got Rob here. You trade 3 micros, and almost not everyone, but a good majority of other prop traders that I've seen, myself included, that get payouts and consistently make money are using less size. It seems contradicting. Less size, you would think less size doesn't mean more money. Well, yes, it does, because you can manage your trades. You can allow your 3 micros to hit your 20-point stop. Right? That's going to cost you what? $120?
And I can lose 5, 6, 7 times and still be fine. Yeah.
Yep. It allows you to be a good loser.
That's the number one thing is, I don't know if it came from you or if it's just something I've heard over the years, but be the best loser possible.
I only say it 5 times a day.
Yeah. No, but be the best loser possible. It's true. You say it, and it really is true, because you will take losses, and you may take even more losses than you take greens. But going to another thing you say sometimes too, no, I'm kidding. Say all the time is, don't take green when it's green. Make sure it's an actual profitable green. Today on live, you were talking about how, I'm green a little bit, but it's not enough, right?
It was 1-to-1.
Yeah.
In today's trade, I was up 20
enough.
or 23 points or something, and it's 20 points, but my risk was 20 points. So I was saying I can't trim here or take profit, because that wouldn't make any sense. My R multiple is negative here.
Yeah.
Not negative, but it was flat. So even though, yes, being up green 20, 23, 25 points, if your plan is to trim at 40, you can't deviate at 25 because you're green.
Yeah.
Doesn't work like that. Not in the long term. In the short term, I would have taken profit at 25 points, had a super green day, almost $2,000. All was well. Didn't work like that. Got stopped back out at 20 because the R multiple didn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't understand. It's almost a disservice. This sounds kind of terrible, but it's almost a disservice on how easy it is to make money when you click a button sometimes, because unfortunately your psychology gets all messed up where you're like, man, I only made $400. Like, that's not enough. Let's go for 800. Let's go for 1,000. And then all of a sudden you've blown your account, or you're negative $1,000 for the day. And there's no reason. You literally clicked a button. You're not building the house. You're not building bridges in the heat at 150 degrees, right? You're clicking a button, sitting at home, hopefully enjoying your life for 20, 30 minutes a day. If you can make $100 in that 30 minutes, that's plenty of money to start building and slowly building up. There's no reason to go for these massive home runs. And that's where I see a lot of the traders that have reached out to me fail, is they're like, oh, I made $600-700. Cool. And I'll literally type, be done. All capitals, exclamation marks, be done. Just be done for the day. And then I get a message, I blew my account. I'm like, you were up $600. How'd you blow your account?
Yep. I mean, just watch the Team Bull chat all day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's, even with someone such as myself screaming, all right, make your money, be done, be done, be done. People sit there and trade all day.
All day.
And almost always, I'd say 95% of the time, if someone makes money in the morning and they sit there and trade till market close, they're going to end up red.
My least profitable days are always when I trade past 11. If I get in around 9:30 and I trade past 11, my least, whether I'm profitable or it's a red day, it's my least profitable days.
You can see your curve.
Correct.
If you put it on a P&L chart for 2 months of trades you take at 9, 10, and 11, I'm sure it goes and starts coming down a little bit.
That's also when I went on tilt and lost the 4,300 was I was trading all day because I had a day off and screw it, let's just trade all day. And then I lost a little bit of my profit and then I just went on tilt. Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yep.
You can't deviate from your system, whether that's your entries, your exits, or the times that your trades come, the times that I like to come to your best trading zones, right? When do you get in your zone most for trading? It's before 11. Some people, maybe they get in their zone trading London session or Asia session, whatever it may be, but you have to know your data and know your zones in order to be able to execute.
Also my least profitable times, London and Asia, because it moves so slow for me and how I like to trade that I will literally get out of a trade just because I'm bored. And it sounds terrible, but I'm humble enough to admit I will 100% get out. Even if it's still a green trade, I will get out just because I'm bored and I'm tired of the price action.
I have a hard time trading Asia and London too, man. I like getting on for New York, having my set trading hours, and then enjoying my life because that's why I got into trading. I wanted to have more time. If I'm stuck constantly trading New York and Asia and London, always in the charts, well, why the hell am I even trading in the first place?
Yeah.
That's not why I got into it.
Nope.
I wanted to make 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, whatever an hour, and then have time for my family, have time for my friends, have time to go to Nuggets games, whatever I want to do, not sit around and trade every single session and be stuck to the screen 15 hours a day.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so getting out of the restaurant and going home, it's late at night. Sometimes I'm home 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, let's hop on and check some trades. I stopped doing that because I was constantly red because I would get in a trade that I shouldn't have got on, but I'm tired and I just, you know what, I could probably make some money and get on. And that's where you have to be self-aware enough with yourself and also be able to admit to yourself when you can't trade those times. Yes, my system works for me, but in that time frame, it doesn't work. So stop trading those times.
And that's where data comes in. Yeah. You do a lot of journaling?
And
what is your, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, you're good.
Do you do a lot of journaling, and what does your journaling or data collection process looks like? Because some people do it the whole 9 yards on TradeZilla.
Yeah.
Some people do it pen and paper. Some people sit there for 5 minutes after and think about their trades and journal it in their head, and that works fine for them.
Yep.
So I always like to ask, what's your process for taking accountability?
And I hold this true in my life because it helps me a lot and understanding what kind of learner I am. Going back to the VARC system, I am not a read-write learner. I'm not at all. So journaling for me does nothing because even if I read it again, does nothing for me. What I do is I take screenshots of my profitability. I take screenshots of when I entered and exit trades. And that's what helps me actually learn because it's a visual picture and I can learn from that. I can't learn from reading a book. It's, to me, I literally fall asleep reading books always. My wife has to hit me. In college, she always wake me up because I'd fall asleep because to me, it's so boring. But if you give me a picture, it sounds childish, but if you give me a picture, coloring book and all, that's how I learn. And that's how I've had to learn through trading. Is journaling doesn't work for me in the sense of writing it down or looking at numbers. What works for me is taking screenshots and seeing my profitability. And then because I like math and I like to compete with myself, taking my percentage trades and saying, okay, I'm at 80% profit, 80% green trades, and going that route and kind of like almost competing with myself.
What's your win rate been this year?
78.2 right now. Wow,
just below 80.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And that's not normal. My normal is usually around like the 60 to 65. But this year I took pretty much the whole month of April off. Unfortunately, I had my other longtime dog pass away. And so I traded for the first like week or so in April, and then she passed away and I was just not in the mindset. I couldn't do it. I was depressed. It was more or less my child. So she passed. Luckily, it was a good passing, but again, psychology wise, I was in I traded 2 or 3 times right after she passed, and I actually had green days, but it was green. And when I looked at my trade, it wasn't a trade I should have necessarily taken. It was a B even setup.
You dodged a bullet on those.
I did,
days.
100%. And that's what told me, get the fuck out and stop trading and get your mentality right and be sad for a little bit and then come back. The market's going to be there.
Exactly. And you'll notice too, when you do this for years and years, that on days where you come in, if you're dealing with divorce or death or a birthday, anything that's going to extract emotion from your personal life into your trading, it's almost always going to end negatively.
Yep.
People think that they're going to go and fix their sadness or, anxiety or depression by having a big trading day. And sure, it might feel good for a second, but what will not feel good is when you go in and you get your shit clocked.
Yeah.
When you lose 2, 3, 4x what you're willing to lose, what you can't afford to lose.
Yep.
That becomes a problem. So kudos to you in taking that time off, realizing I'm not okay mentally. I'm not okay to be putting on risk in trading, because you probably saved tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. And to say I took trading off, I did for my own sake, but if you have those days, find something that you can do that gives you the same satisfaction of trading. So for me, there's 3 guys that were in my DMs all day that day. And I was like, you know what, let's have a Zoom session. And I got on Zoom with them and we literally did a Zoom session, not all together, but back to back to back. And that was my trading. That was my, let's scratch the itch, right? And that's how I kept not trading, is I found something in my personal life that kept me away from trading my own accounts so that I could be okay. So I think that's something that everybody as a trader, you have to have in your life, whether it's teaching somebody else, whether it's going hunting, whether it's going driving, find something that will get you away from trading that still gives you that dopamine hit.
For sure. You got to have, it sounds simple, but I always say you have to have hobbies outside of trading that require some sort of discipline to keep yourself grounded for your trading day.
Correct.
You can't be an undisciplined and unhinged person outside of the market and expect to be super disciplined and super focused and super, on your game inside the market.
100%.
Doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So with your job now, I want to change gears a little bit.
Yeah.
You work late nights sometimes because you're a general manager at a restaurant, and which is a good thing because it allows you, as far as I understand, to work afternoons quite a bit. You can trade in the morning, work in the afternoon.
Yep.
Do you have any rules for yourself when you get home at 2 or 3 in the morning? If you don't sleep well, you don't trade. If you get home at a certain time, you don't trade. How do you balance your work life and trading life? Because I think that that's a big struggle a lot of people have. Most people watching this likely are not going to be full-time traders for a long time, if not ever, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm a huge advocate for trading should never be your only source of income, not for a really long time.
Correct.
Maybe when you have a 7-figure account and you have 2+ years of proven profitability year to date and an array of other experimental factors. So how do you do that? How do you manage the work and trade life?
Yeah. So for me, trading is actually my relaxation. Getting up in the morning and looking at the market relaxes me. So I don't have a necessarily rule on if I get home too late, because that's the suck it up buttercup mentality of like, get up and make sure you're good. If you're good, then trade. But I always check myself in the morning. I also have the either unique ability or the downfall of, if I sleep about 4 to 5 hours a night, I'm good. I don't need any more than about 5 hours a night, which is great for me. But I can still work completely fine at 5 hours, even 4. And so if I'm getting home at 4 or 5, maybe a little bit different of a story, but I don't necessarily have any rules for that. But I do have rules. When I wake up, I check myself mentally. Hence why I take the dog out and I sit outside and enjoy some vitamin D, some sun, right? And
one of the best things you can do for yourself every morning, not to go into biohacking or that side of things, but going into the trading day with an A+ mindset is huge.
Oh, 100%.
I'm sure you take that scientific approach every single morning. The morning sunlight, the vitamin D, hydration, all those little things matter when you're coming into the market, trying to stay focused and trying to nail your trading day.
I also, as corny and as it sounds, I used to play the cello years and years ago, and I love classical music. So like you always have I listen to all sorts of EDM and workout and stuff like that when I'm working out. But right before trading, I'll listen to some sort of like really mellow classical music, and even if it's 2 minutes, and it just calms me down and gets me in a state of, and then we go. So a lot of that's my jiu-jitsu mentality of slow, methodical movements, and it pushes into everyday life.
I bet you probably take a lot from jiu-jitsu.
I do.
To your trading.
I do.
Because if you go to wrestle someone, take myself, for example, I don't know shit about jiu-jitsu. Done some MMA and such in the past, more kickboxing.
Yeah.
Never much grappling. If you come in, if I'm super strong and ready to pound face and I go against someone who's half my size, but is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, they're going to kick my fucking ass because I'm going to go in swinging and they're going to be methodical, strategic, even with very little force. It's all about your strategy.
Correct. All
Same thing goes for trading. That's the point I was trying to make.
100%. Yeah. Well, and so that's what I love is jiu-jitsu is, people think jiu-jitsu is all about kicking somebody's ass and submitting them, right? Especially if you're not educated at that point. Jiu-jitsu was made to survive, to be able to go home at night. That's all jiu-jitsu was ever meant to be, is to be able to survive. We as day traders, as traders in general, we're just trying to survive.
Live to trade another day.
Yeah, we're not trying to hit $40,000 days. We are literally just trying to live to survive. And that's the mentality I take from jiu-jitsu into trading is, as long as I survive the day, it was a great day.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, as traders, we carry that exact persona every single day.
Yeah.
We live to trade another day. We protect the downside. We make sure we don't blow ourselves up. And if you can do those two things, have some winners on the side, you're going to be a profitable trader.
Yeah.
In the end, it all boils down to survival.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the other things I love, and I'm pretty sure this came from one of my coaches, but either John Burke or Hoist Gracie, but everybody's arm breaks the same. So your elbow, if I put you in an arm bar, is going to break just like anybody's arm bar, anybody's elbow, right? And that's where I think you have to put people in check, is like, no matter what, we're all the same person at the end of the day, and we're all trading the same markets. So as long as you can live and take a $50 win or a $50 loss, a $50 loss is a great loss. You still have money, hopefully. Yeah.
That's crazy. And it's a good way to look at it. Whether you're struggling with $50 losses, $500 losses, $5,000 losses, the same market and loss that you see and experience, the same thing happened to the next guy or girl.
Yep.
Same with the wins.
Yeah.
It all boils down to, if person A can make it, like you said earlier, you being person B, you can make it too. It's about dialing in your experience, your strategy, and your edge, which I think is extraordinary still. How did you find confidence only trading for 2 years? Do you think that had something to do with your discipline past with jiu-jitsu? Do you think it had to do with you've been trading since you were 20, just a different style? Is it because you put in 10 hours a day to your craft? Why do you think that is? Because out of a lot of different students that I've watched, that I've taught, that I've observed, a lot of them don't get it. Heck, within 2 years, a lot of them don't even get a payout in 2 years. But then we have people like you and some others that dial in, and you're at a place a year in that some people take 5 years to get to. Why do you think that was?
So I will say it's definitely not my strategy. It's definitely not because of my previous trading, because I was not profitable when I switched over to strictly day trading. I was not. And we spoke about that a little bit, but I was not profitable. I would say it's a lot of dedication to sitting on your hands and watching the market, and not trading. It was a lot of my mentality through jiu-jitsu, but there's a lot of, the number one thing I tell people before they will ever be profitable is you have to figure out your why, and figure out why you're trying to be a profitable trader. If that's to pay for your mom's car, if that's to just pay down your debt, figure out what is intrinsically motivating you to do this terrible, ridiculously stressful job that is day trading and can be absolutely horrible on your mental state. Figure out that why, and then make sure you write that down, take a screenshot, put it up somewhere, do something that reminds you every single day when you have a rough day and when you have a good day, and always be thankful for where you are.
It's got to be a strong why.
Yeah.
Even 9 years into this, I still have super stressful days.
Yeah.
2 years into day trading, you're still going to have stressful days. Yep. You're going to have a lot of them.
Yeah.
Tilt days, bigger loss days than you like, days where you get wicked out and it rips 100 points.
Yep.
It never ends.
Yeah.
So having that strong why is, I almost want to say, non-negotiable.
Yeah.
You have to have it, because if you come in And your why, I'm not saying your why can't be cars and watches and nice stuff, because that stuff is nice, but that intrinsic why has to be really strong. You have to really love those things.
Yeah.
If you're just coming in because you want to treat it like a hobby and make a little money and maybe do this or that, you probably won't last.
Agreed. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart.
You certainly won't scale.
And it's not for everybody. It really is not. It's a difficult job. Yes, it's clicking a button. We're all clicking the same button, but it is stressful and it's emotionally draining. Watch time is a big thing as well. I always recommend people doing watch time. The one, actually, a really good thing that really pushed my trading severely into the profitable green, not just a little bit, but really up there, was, everybody says backtesting, but what I did is I'd go back and I'd literally zoom out and just scroll really, really, really hard, find some candles, zoom in, and then I would see the setup, and I would put, if I found a setup there, and then I would literally scroll over candle by candle by candle to see if that setup worked. And you can use that, like TradingView has that option of playing and stuff like that. But until you're profitable, don't put any money into apps, algorithms, all this stuff. Save all of your money. Stop wasting money on, oh, well, I'm paying $15 a month for this, $20 for this, and you have all these subscriptions. And then on top of your losses, you're subscribing to $300 of other stuff. Subscribe to one thing that's helping you, i.e. for me, it was Team Bowl, but also you can do a lot of things that the subscriptions are doing if you're not lazy and if you just do it your own way. And that's what I did until I was making a lot of money, is I wasn't subscribing for things. I was using the scroll method, and then I would inch over and over. And if it didn't work, okay, why did that not work? And then I go back and look at the volume and things like that. So a lot of back testing in my own way.
Well, and it's the same concept of multitasking.
Yeah.
The person who tries to do everything ends up doing nothing.
Yeah.
If you can focus on one good thing at a time, one good trade at a time, one good education resource at a time, you're going to have a lot more success than trying to subscribe to this, and do this, and this strategy. Oh, well, this didn't work. I took 2 losses. Let's switch to this strategy. Let's switch to this strategy. It doesn't work bunny hopping from indicator to algo to strategy to educational resource. It's not a sustainable way to learn how to trade.
No, not at all.
So in terms of, trading different prop firms, trading different accounts, have you ever traded or dabbled with a live account? Or do you have any plans to take any of your prop firm payouts and trade on your own rule set? I was going to say without rules, but I don't like to put it that way, because even if you're on your own live account, you still have rules. You just don't have a firm setting them for you. Yes. So do you trade in a live account? And if you don't, do you have any plans to?
Yes. So I already have some live accounts, or a live account, I should say. Sorry. It's, to me, when I trade, my rule for trading live accounts is if I've been wicked out the last couple of days, if for some reason I'm hating prop firms for the day, I don't want to deal with their rules. I want to deal with only my rules. Now that mentality is not, using that is not for everybody, because you lose a lot more money that way. That's the nice thing about prop firms, is you can put in $100 and hopefully make thousands, right? Not necessarily always the case. Most likely it's not. But with live, I use live for days where the market's not respecting technicals. It's not doing what I think it's going to do, but I see a big move coming. So I'll switch to one of my lives that way.
Interesting. Yeah. So you have a system for it.
Correct. I have a set system for that, because if one thing that I see a lot of traders do is they have 5 different prop firms, and then they blow one account, so they move to another, blow one, move to another. That's a losing day. If you blew an account, that's a losing day. Stop trading for the day. And so that's why I have the set system, is because I don't want to blow an account unfunded and then move to a live account and blow more money, real cash money. And so if I wake up on the day and I'm watching the price action and I just don't like it, I'll switch. Before I take any trades, it has to either be prop firms or live. I don't switch between the two.
Interesting. See, and that's where I go back and forth, because on prop firms, most of them have a consistency rule of some sort. So that takes away from how I would trade my live account, because on a live account, if you can say enter at 100 and it immediately moves to 120, say you trim. Well, in a perfect world, you trail your stop, or you keep your stop at break even, and you let that thing run for 1,000 points if you can. You have a massive day on the live because it's all real money. Well, the problem is with a prop firm,
now you have to do the same thing.
is if you have one day where you let your winner run and it's a really good, you just crushed it, you have a really good trade, Well, if you make 20,000 on that trade, you have a 20% consistency rule. Now you have to make $100,000.
Yeah, you're screwed.
And that gets tough.
Yep.
Or if it's even 40% consistency rule, whatever it is, 40,000, 50,000.
It could be a 10% consistency rule. That's still, if you have a massive day and you don't normally have those massive days,
You're screwed.
you're shooting yourself in the foot.
So that's the only tough part of, I guess, navigating between both, is that when you're on a live account, you have that ability. You want the massive winners.
I want a massive, just all the way down, all the way up.
If you can catch that whole move and keep your stop at break even or trail it, whatever it may be, that's the goal.
Yep.
That's how if you have one 20R trade, that allows you a lot of little losers until your next massive trade.
Correct.
On a prop firm, you can't do that.
Correct. On that note, that's a really good point. I don't ever take massive trades, massive profits on my prop firms. And that sounds really stupid, but to the consistency rule, if I'm consistently making $1,200 a day, I don't want to make any more than $2,800, $3,000 on a big trade. If I do, great, but that's that 50% consistency rule, right? And then I just have to make extra days. So one of my good friend, the other guy named Rob, the reason he actually made his payout is because he had a really big day. And I told him, I said, you realize you have to do that multiple times now. And so he was like, crap. So it actually took him much longer. And he went through almost 3 pay cycles before he finally got that payout because of that. And I told him, I was like, look, if I make too much, I'm done. I will get out of a winning trade because I've made too much money, because I know the next day I have to make that. And then that's when the mentality goes into effect. Oh, I only made $2,000 a day. You made $2,000. That's more than some people make in weeks, if not a month.
Yep.
It's insane. And so like your psychology has to be right.
That's the tough part too, is that it trains you to, in a perfect world of trading, you're taught to trade for the process, not the money.
Yeah.
What you just said is, if you're up X amount of dollars, oh, fuck, I have to sell this because of consistency.
Yep.
Well, that takes away from traditionally how we should be trading. We should be letting our winners run because we're not in drawdown. There's no technical reason to close the trade. Why wouldn't you let it run? So that's the only drawback I have between
it's
switching
rules.
from live to
Gotta
prop
follow
firm.
the rules.
But you also have the chance with the prop firm to turn $150 into, say, $50K.
Yeah. You did blow my, sorry to cut you off. You did blow my mind. You were on live February or March, and you were like, yeah, most people are spending $20,000, $30,000 on, and I think that's where a lot of people need to understand, like, if you haven't spent that much, good for you. Like I was lucky enough / I'm good enough, I guess, that I spent like $2,000 probably on the FFF to make my 70. But
that's a great return.
But in my head, it was a terrible return until you told me that. And I think that's where a lot of people need to hear sometimes is if you've only bought in so much, you didn't spend $50,000, great. You're doing good.
Well, and that's the side that firm owners don't tell you about is, say that you have a trader who makes 50K, right? This isn't you, just in general. We have person C that makes 50K. Well, the first thing the firm's going to look at if they decide whether they're going to move them to live, if they're not, is, okay, how much has this person spent? If this person has spent 50K in evals or 40K in evals or 60K in evals, the most I saw was just under $40,000 on evals. Maybe there's probably people.
There's probably way more than that. Yeah.
The point is that the firm's going to evaluate, okay, is this person a liability or are they likely to give this back? And a lot of the people that you see making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 payouts, what they're not showing you is their expenses. So sure, someone might get a $10,000 payout, but they might be $20,000 deep on evals.
Yeah.
Which is fine in a sense. You're gonna, if you're learning, if you're still growing, it's a cost. If you're consistently improving, it's all right. But social media sees, oh my gosh, this person made $10,000 on a payout. Wow, they're the best trader in the world. But they didn't tell you it took 500 evals to get there.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for traders to know that.
Oh, definitely.
Across social media, a lot of people that you see everyone and their mom getting a payout. But in reality, a lot of those people have spent more on evals and activation fees than they've actually made via payouts.
Yeah. When you said that, it made my day more, and I'm pretty sure I was actually somewhat green on that day because I was stoked, and that made me happier because the reality came out, and like that was almost a win in itself. So I feel like there's a disconnect between people that are using prop firms and not. But it was a great thing to know from a previous prop firm owner.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's insane.
People spend a lot of money on evals and resets,
and that goes back to my point. Why are you buying 10 accounts? Just buy one. If you're not profitable with one, why are you buying more accounts? There's no reason to buy more accounts.
I've seen a lot of people struggle with too, I call it the one and done, where people will trade their way through a funded account. They'll get a payout. They'll blow that account, and then they can never get back to the payout again. So from someone who's done really well on payouts, such as yourself, is there anything you do psychologically to keep your mind in the game? And there might not be anything. I just like to ask because I think it's a good question that has allowed you to take payout after payout after payout and not get stuck after one. To me, it boils down to just trading a system, but
I was gonna say, I think it's actually trading your system from 0 to 100. Because a lot of people, you'll see, oh, I passed my account. And the next day, oh, I blew my account. Well, how'd you pass in one day and you couldn't keep an account the next day? That tells me you're oversizing, you're YOLOing it, right? And you're just hoping that you get a massive, massive move. And so the thing that I've helped a lot of the people in my circle become very profitable, because like I said, my number one thing is getting my circle to be making as much money, if not twice, 3 times more than I am. I would, if I can make millionaires out of everyone that I know, done cool. In a heartbeat. Is they go from trying to YOLO to, I literally watch their trade and, hey, you didn't trade the same this time as you did this time. So why are you trading differently? You have to trade the same way in a evaluation as you do a funded. Have to.
That's such a hard pill to swallow.
It is, because you want to pass Tradeify in one day. Today, I got 4 accounts last Friday. I got it up to $2,500 today for all 4 accounts. I took a losing trade because I was trying to pass in one day because I was close, right? But it only brought me down to $1,500. I'm still up $1,500 on those evals. So, but I'm fine with that because I'm not trying to pass, but because I was so close, why not? But you also have to say, now I'm done. I'm not trying to pass in one day, because I'm never trying to make $3,000 in a day. I'm not. If I make,
to be able to say, now I'm done.
Yeah. If I make
huge words.
Yeah. Now I'm done.
Said that casually, but those are huge words to be able to say, now I'm done, and actually walk away.
Yeah.
It's really hard after you've taken a loss.
Close your computer, put it in the freezer, whatever you got to do.
It's real tough, man. Yeah. It's real tough. It was one of the hardest things that I had to overcome, was being able to take a loss, or my max loss limit is 2. If I lose 2 full-size trades in a day, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because I know that if I keep trading after 2 full-size losses, I'm more compromised, I guess, to tilt, to revenge trading, to making stupid decisions and digging myself a bigger hole than I'm willing to sit in. I don't want to sit in that big hole.
Yeah.
Do you have any personal loss limits via monetary or trades wise?
It was monetary up until about 2 months ago. And then I switched from being monetary just because I wanted to try something new. I have no problem going back to monetary. I have no problem with monetary at all, because in my head, monetary works. But right now it's three losses, 3 full-size losses. Yep. And that's 60 points total. So
that's solid.
Yeah.
So your biggest risk if you're trading 3 micros is $400.
Yep. Yeah. So if I lose, 500 is usually where I was at. If I lose $500 in a day, sometimes 700, if I'm being honest, $500 is like that. Okay, now I'm out. If I'm in a trade and I think it's going right, and then I lose 700, I still have to be okay with it.
And I think that this will seriously change a lot of people's perceptions, because you're talking about here, if you lose $400 in a day or $500 in a day, you're done, which means your green days are probably $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, but that's led to 6 figures in payouts.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people watching this have had 6 figures in payouts. And I don't know a single person personally that's watching this, but I know the data, and I know that 98% of traders, maybe that's increasing, 97%, 96%, whatever it may be, will never see a payout. I bet a lot more would. I know a lot more would, if they would stick to smaller size, learn a system, get educated the right way, stay consistent with the system, avoid tilt, avoid revenge trading, and focus on small base hits. 100%. So I have that poster right there. I reference this in almost every podcast.
I actually just bought one the other day because I like that poster. And again, my wife made me do a plastic bag day, or actually a week, about 2 weeks ago because I was so in my head about, I need to make $2,500 every day. My goal is $2,500 every day. And she's like, hey, babe, guess what? Put all those nice things, your phone, your keys, everything, put it in a grocery bag. You get to walk around. And she's like, plastic bag it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it really does kind of click in of like, damn, at one point in time, I was happy having all my belongings in this bag. So why not? So that's those posters and things like that can check you. Everybody needs.
Yep. I mean, every morning this is obvious, we're at the office, but in my personal office at home, I have a little one of those that right by my desk. I'm sitting here, the sign is right here on my wall, and
great.
Every day I remind myself, even if I make $500 or $1,000, look at that.
Yeah.
An extra $250K a year trading an hour or two a day.
Who wouldn't be happy with an extra? Well, there's probably some very, very big billionaires that who cares, but normal person, who wouldn't be happy with 50K, an extra 50K a year? So clicking a button.
Massively.
Yeah.
And even more so, you just scale that. Maybe year 2 or 3, you make $200 a day.
Yeah.
Year 3, you make $300 a day. It seems like $100 jump, not that much. But that puts you up to that extra $75K a year.
Yep.
$100 the next year. You're $400 a day. Congrats. Now you're making 6 figures a year on a side income, maybe full-time income eventually, but a side income that you spend an hour or 2 a day doing.
Yeah.
That's freedom.
Yeah.
You take that money, you invest it for yourself, and then that works for you, and you scale. You slowly scale.
Exponential.
The problem is people try to go from $200 a day
to $1 million.
To $4K a day.
Yeah, or $10K.
Yeah, or $10K. And what you see happen almost every time, especially in the prop business, we saw it all the time at FFF, is someone will have 4 or 5 10K days in a row. 10, 20, 30, 40, they're at 50K. Well, they know damn well they shouldn't be trading the size that it takes to get 10K. So what happens on day 6? All 50K, gone. They over leverage it. They tilt it. Oh. They destroy it. I've seen it happen so many times.
That hurts.
It does. Yeah. It sucks, but it happens all the time,
That's
dude.
Crazy.
All the time.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. That would hurt me.
And it goes to show that it's not the home runs that make legends. Home runs don't get you into the Hall of Fame. Consistent base hits and a good hitting percentage does.
Yeah.
Being a good player for years on end, staying in the league for years on end. No one gives a fuck if you come into the league one year in the MLB, you hit a bunch of home runs.
Yeah.
If you die off after that year, you're not remembered.
Yeah, 320. Just shoot 320 batting average.
Yep. Come on. But if you consistently come in, bat a high percentage, do good for your team, crush it year in and year out, you're going to be a legend.
Yeah.
And being a legend in trading means that you make a lot of money, have a lot of freedom, and have a great system.
Yeah. And that's what it boils down to. Just make those little gains and build a buffer. Those are my 2 biggest things. Trade like you're supposed to, that you would if it was your actual money, even on evals, and make a buffer.
It's a damn good system.
Yeah.
So wrapping things up here, I always like to end this by asking, what is one thing that you wish you could tell your younger self, or a piece of advice that you think would help any aspiring trader, maybe a trader that's struggling, or something that you want to be remembered by?
That is a great question.
It's kind of a loaded question, so take a second if you need. But
something I would tell either my younger self or younger in the trading community. I don't care what your age is, but younger in the trading community. You will have losing days. You're going to have miserable days, and that's okay. You're going to have absolutely terrible days, and that's okay. As long as you have somebody or something to fall back on or fall into that helps you through those big days. So find that friend, find that family member, find that one person that you can rely on 100% of the time, to whether they be positive or they're just there to hear you listen, or you find some sort of hobby. But on those miserable days that will 100% happen, make sure you fall into that net, because that is what's going to stop you from going down the rabbit hole.
That's great. You know what's crazy? This is a little off topic, but you're in your 30s. I'm basically almost 30. The last student I had here for the podcast, you probably seen him in chat, Real J Quinn.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He started trading at 65 years old.
That's awesome.
68 now. And I think that's super cool because guys, we're both near 30. Guys in their 25, 25 age, 24, 20s, early 30s, early 40s, oftentimes say, Jacob, am I too late? I just turned 35. Am I too late? No, not at all.
You're breathing.
You're breathing.
Yeah, you're not too late.
I mean,
yeah.
Jay has started at 65.
That's amazing.
He was retired, got bored, wanted to learn how to trade. He's 68 now. He's made over 100K in payouts.
That's awesome.
I
love that.
It's all. I just thought that was super fascinating.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna watch this and be like, "You keep telling people I'm almost 70."
I
think it's awesome.
Yeah, but that's amazing.
I thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
I was blown. I mean, he looks like he's 50.
Yeah.
Ripped, awesome shape. But point is that whether you're 65 or 55 or 45 or 35, if you take it seriously, you can be a year or two away from changing your life.
Yeah. Discipline does not know age limits.
Nope.
As long as you have it, you can make something happen at whatever age. Yeah.
So awesome, man.
Yeah. I have a buddy, his name's Paul, one of my jiu-jitsu guys. He is 70, I want to say 78 or 79 now. He started when he was 72.
Jiu-jitsu.
In jiu-jitsu. 71.
Wow.
71 or 70. Don't quote me on the years, but in the 70s.
That's awesome.
To this day, he's one of the strongest 79-year-olds that has a six-pack ripped. And I'm like, Paul, what do you do? He's like, I drive my truck and I eat apples. I love it, but he has discipline. And that's what makes him different than a 20-year-old walking into a gym. Same thing with trading. Doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have. Everybody's humbled and everybody is equal when the market opens.
Yep. It's beautiful. Well, I think that we just delivered a lot of value in the last hour. Again, Rob, thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure getting to know you via Discord, via Mastermind, and now in person.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
Thank you for having me. Seriously, this is great. I honestly never thought that something like this could come from pushing some buttons.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you got your whole future ahead of you.
Yeah,
crushing numbers. So hopefully we hear from you again soon.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it.
Until next time, Team Bull.